Well, hello there. My name is Ellie, and I'm not exactly too sure how long I can record on this because I'm recording on my phone. So I apologize for the low quality, but oh, there's an airplane going by. Any day now. The second I hit record. Okay, that's great. I have been having very, very strange dreams as of late. Now, I've always had very strange dreams, like, ever since I was a very, very little kid. Which, oh shit, my finger's over the. My bad. But, so this isn't necessarily a new thing, but they've been getting exponentially stranger as of late, and I'm not exactly sure why. But one of the dreams that I did have was very vivid. It was like a cohesive storyline. It was almost like a movie. It was so weird and it was so messed up. I will get to that, but one of the things that I wanted to talk about first is this recurring dream that I've been having ever since I was in middle school. It's usually like they're all different scenarios, but basically all these dreams, they all consist of my mother dying. Most of the time she's being killed by somebody else. One of the first dreams I ever had of that I remember was after I read this creepypasta when I was younger called Booth World Industries. Now, if you're not familiar with that, it's basically it's a number that you call to schedule a remodeling, and they will ask you for the name of the person you want to be remodeled. And then, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's pretty self-explanatory from there. But if you're not familiar with the story, you can Google it, and it's yeah. But I had a dream when I was in middle school that somebody called the number Booth World Industries, which is actually a real number you can't call. You won't like it's not a real remodeling service, but somebody called the number and told them her name, and then she ended up being killed. So that was a fun dream. Another one was, I don't exactly remember everything of this one in particular, but I was on a ship, like out in the middle of the ocean. I think it was some sort of pirate. And my youngest brother was there. And I got a phone call from my stepdad saying that my mother had been murdered. So that was also really fun. But as of late, like within the past year, because these dreams all happen in the span like in between months, right? It's not like an every night thing. But as of late, they've been getting more and more realistic. Like just last year, in my dream, somebody dumped kerosene all over her and then set her on fire. And then she died. And then there was another one about 6 months after that, where she died in a car crash, which actually did scare the living piss out of me because, I mean, people die in car crashes all the time. But this most recent one was probably the scariest one that I've ever had, because it hit very close to home. In my dream, she died of a drug overdose. A very specific one. I won't say what it is. But it really did freak me out. She's okay. Like, every single time I have these dreams, I always end up messaging her afterwards. Either that or I'll message my grandmother. And I usually, like, I don't necessarily think, I used to think that it was like a psychic ability almost. Now I just think it's probably just my own fears like manifesting itself in my dreams, if that makes any sense. So I don't know how much I believe in that psychic crap. It might be real, you never know. But this next dream that I wanted to talk about, I actually did share it on a thread on Twitter a couple of days ago. Was a dream involving Elijah Daniel, or Lil Fag, of all people. Rihanna made a brief appearance, and then there was also Emma Blackery was in it. I don't know why there's so many, but I don't know. But this one really did have me dazed for a while. And I wrote it down right after I woke up. So I'm gonna read that to you right now. Now, keep in mind, I was still kind of like, sort of half asleep. Ooh, the lighting just got terrible. Let me move again. I was sort of half asleep when I wrote this, so bear with me if I do stumble a little bit. But here's what I wrote down. I had an effed up dream this morning. I was an agent / bounty hunter for this evil corporation, sort of like Umbrella, which is from Resident Evil, if you're familiar with that at all. I was an evil person as well, but I didn't feel bad. I think it was because the company was brainwashing me. My job was to go and collect humans, dead or alive, and bring them to them so that they could turn the humans into mutant androids and use them as their mindless slaves. One of the humans I collected was a 12-year-old boy. I can't remember his name. They replaced his bones with metal and they took away his eyes. I watched as they kept him strapped to the hospital bed in case he woke up. Dr. Daniel, Elijah Daniel, was taking care of him. I started to feel horrible and guilty for bringing that boy here. Dr. Daniel left for a few moments and I was alone with him. I couldn't tell if they'd already killed him or not. I knew that he was already pretty much as good as dead either way. They took away what made him human. I saw them cut him open and remove his bones. I watched it all. I wanted to cry. Dr. Daniel came back and saw that I felt remorse for what I had done. He became furious and tried to kill me with a scalpel. I managed to escape, but for the next few days I couldn't let my guard down because I knew that he would kill me the second that I did. I got a text message from Rihanna, who had been secretly working for Dr. Daniel, telling me to watch my back because he was coming for me. She wanted to help me, but she feared too much for her own life, which I understood. I tried skipping town and hid in the big city, but Dr. Daniel found me within hours. He chased me down, and I did everything I could to run away. I eventually hopped a fence, but then there was a woman there in a large black hat and a low-cut black dress. Very specific. I still remember her, like, very vividly in my mind. Oh, that was gonna burp. I recognized her immediately, and I thought to myself, wow, she's a lot taller than I thought, because obviously that's the most important thing going through my mind at this moment. Her name was Emma, and I knew her from YouTube, Emma Blackery, but I had no idea what she was doing here. In her videos, she always seemed so sweet and kind, a little sassy, but I liked her. But looking at her now, I felt her aura of darkness wash over me, and I was terrified. I thought Dr. Daniel had told her where I was, and I thought she wanted me dead too for betraying the company. Her company. In that moment, I knew instantly that Emma was the feared CEO of this effed up corporation, hell-bent on taking control of this whole world. I forgot all about that little boy and only feared for my own safety. I knew it was selfish, but he was done for anyway. There was no saving him. Emma smiled wickedly at me, and my heart dropped, but instead of murdering me like I thought she would, she grabbed me and kissed me like I was her wife or something. I was so dazed that I couldn't even move or push her away. When she pulled away, she smiled at me again, but this time her smile was kind, and I briefly wondered if her and I had a history together. It was possible, after all. The corporation had taken away all of my previous memories, when I agreed to work for them. I didn't even remember my own parents, but I felt like I should have remembered her. I looked over to the side and saw Dr. Daniel had watched the entire thing. He looked devastated and his eyes were watering. Emma sauntered away and Dr. Daniel reached out for me. I suddenly felt like I had a history with him too. We were lovers at one point. It didn't make any sense though, because he was very openly gay, and so was I. I was too scared to stay though, and so I ran away. I did not get far, however. Other employees caught me eventually, and they tried to take away my emotions, and they tried to take away what made me human. They revoked my position as their bounty hunter, and instead I was a scientist whose job was to find ways to crumble the human race and make them all submissive to us. The year was now 4001, exactly 2,000 years after I was born. In fact, I'm pretty certain it was my birthday too. But birthdays didn't matter anymore because I was no longer my own person, and I hadn't been since I was 17 years old. Me and a team of scientists had succeeded in turning the bodies of a recently deceased group of friends into reanimated corpses. But they weren't zombies. They were fully functional humans, but their bodies contained the souls of a ruthless, bloodthirsty, hell-bent on revenge god who hated the human race just as much as they did. The company, that is. I cried silently as I flipped the switch to set them loose, and then I woke up. So, it was quite a ride, and part of me is kind of afraid to go back to sleep, because while these dreams are happening, I can't lucid dream, so I don't understand that it's not real. But on the other hand, they give me something interesting to write about. And I honestly think that part of the reason that I had this dream was because that night I was doing a lot of planning and outlining for a novel that I'm working on that has to do with reincarnation and ruthless entities. I don't want to give away anything, just because, yeah, but very, very strange stuff, and I wanted to start off this channel with something fairly interesting. I do have a lot of interesting stories, I think, from when I was in middle school and even the first 3 years of my high school career. I'm about to enter my senior year. So yeah, I think that's where I'm gonna end this video, and I think I'm gonna do another one tomorrow night. Possibly, I think I'm gonna tell a couple of my more creepy paranormal type stories, and I'm sorry if I'm like not looking at the camera, I'm like looking off to the side. It's because I don't really like looking at myself very much, so I apologize. Hopefully it'll improve soon, but until then, I shall catch you later.